This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, class. This is your instructor, Peter Olson. I'm the color theory instructor for Section 1. If you're in Section 2, your instructor is Matt Penna. I'm going to provide a little more critique and feedback on your sketches. I'm going to do it for both sections, starting with Section 1, my section. If you have questions about my feedback, you can write to your instructor, either myself or Professor Penna. So let's get started with the week 2 discussion. I'm going to just really look at the things that are new that have been submitted since yesterday, since yesterday I gave feedback on the work that had been submitted then. Starting with Sarah. All right, Sarah, you have Stonehaven Toffee, which you're enthusiastically going after. I like that. Um, One thing I would say in general with everybody's work is try to think of the icon as separate from the type, and then you're going to work on the type in the next part coming up. When I look at this, I see this stone fence. This is a kind of interesting illustration. I'm not sure how this works as an icon. I think you'd have to actually sort of encapsulate this in some sort of shape, and then perhaps it could work. And these two ideas are almost exactly the same thing. So that's perhaps one that you could work. This little landscape with the castle on the hill, another sort of interesting illustration, but in order to turn it into an icon, you'd have to capture it in a shape, and I would say probably make the castle more prominent so you could see it better. The other idea you have is heraldry, a shield of some sort. That's a good idea. I would do some research on those and try to create something that looks authentic. So that would be another idea that you have. And then you've got the castle. The castle by itself is kind of ordinary. What would you do to make it unique, special for your brand? I would think about that. Uh, let's see. I'm not really sure what's going on in this number 7. And these two work on a word mark, which is not what I want you to do. So considering an icon, I would say the stone fence, this landscape with the castle. You could vary how big the castle is, and then the shield. So those are your 3 ideas that I would go forward with. Next up, James. James, you are working on McFeeney's Irish snacks. You've clearly done some research on Irish culture, and you have some fun ideas here. You are trying to work with type in a sort of handwritten form, and you're actually doing a pretty good job with that. Uh, I would say the ones that jump out to me right away are um, this number 1 with the pot of gold. Uh, and when you get into the type portion, give yourself some flexibility with the type not being wrapped around the icon. Um, these are interesting ideas here. This one, number 2, number 3, but I'm not sure how they work as an icon. They seem a little complex for that. This one, I'm not really following what the symbolism here is here. It's really kind of interesting, but I'm not sure it works well with the sort of disembodied hands and all that. Um, Something sort of ornamental with the clover is probably okay. And the shield kind of works. Like I said before, be careful tying in the type to the icon because it gives you less flexibility in the long run. This M sort of horseshoe shape, I think that's really good. Like I said, I think you have several good ideas. So probably number 1, number 9 for sure, number 7 perhaps. And these two are interesting ideas, but I'm not sure how they really work as icons. So anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with those. Those are good. Let's see, Matthew, you picked mint soap. And obviously, because the soap is mint, you've got a mint leaf, you've got bubbles, you've got soap bars. So it'd be great to come up with some ideas that are a little more uh, broad than this. Yeah, yeah, Japanese culture. There's something you borrow from that. Images of women from Japanese culture, perhaps. I would steer away from just using a mint leaf. And mint leaves are kind of overused in general when you look at your competitors. So I'm not really seeing anything I really think is a great logo. I mean, bars of soap don't make really pretty pictures. Perhaps number 3, maybe number 6 are kind of a similar idea. But then I would say explore some more Japanese culture items and see what else you can come up with for a third idea. All right, Kevin, you got Odessa tea. This is a tea from the Ukraine, not Texas. I want you to look at Ukrainian culture and see what you can find there. And I don't really see anything here that would work well as an icon. Steer away from tea leaves; they're kind of overused. And don't use as a word mark. You want to create an icon, an image that stands up with this. So dive into Ukrainian culture. They have a lot of interesting visuals there that will inspire you to create a logo. It's not Odessa, Texas, and it says that in the creative brief. So make sure you're reading everything and following instructions. All right, Jay, you did Olympic coffee. So this is kind of Greek diner coffee. You've drawn on a lot of Greek cultural images, which is good. Maybe not so much diner, but maybe you could work that in next. The hand holding the torch. Some of these look like kind of visual explorations. All right, so here's sort of the Greek figure with a coffee cup. I like this. I'm curious how this becomes more of an icon. Like maybe you focus in, create a shape, and surround the upper part of the body there. This one with the cup with the sort of flame, I like that. That's a good idea. So you've got those two are good. Some of these, like I said, visual exploration. So these interesting drawings, but I'm not sure how they make an icon. The coffee bean, it's a little overused, but perhaps that might work. The discus thrower, I've seen that a lot too. So how would you give that a twist to make it more like your brand? These look like these traditional tea cups from South America. I'm not really sure how that relates, but so number 3, number 4, maybe number 10, and or see what you could come up with number 9. All right, so yes, Xavier, I did yours yesterday. So if you watch that video, you get some feedback there. All right, I'm going to jump over to section 2. Your instructor is Matt Penna, and I'm going to take a look at what's new there. Let's see, we're starting off with Chloe. Chloe, you are using Dark Wave soap, which is one of my favorites. I love this brand. You've got these sort of gothic initials. That's sort of like a starting point for your thinking, but it's not really an icon yet. The wave, I think the wave is a little less branded with this. It might work. I like this one as far as a wave goes, much better. Let's see. And then the Raven is definitely in your brand. I would love to see how you make this kind of your own, own it, your unique dark wave branded Raven. So that's 2 ideas, 4 and 8. Perhaps if you created sort of a heraldry thing with the letters, a shield, you know what I'm talking about, and see how that comes out. And by the way, I've seen this a lot. A lot of people are giving me screenshots of their InDesign document. You can export InDesign as a JPEG, any page. Please do that instead of doing screenshots so we don't have all the guidelines and all that. Evan, you did Babylon Soap, which is a sort of a Bengay of soaps. I'm looking at this. I'm trying to follow it. I think you're like doing the Tower of Babel. Some of these look like more like illustrations than icons. So if you do the tower, make it an iconic, a big solid image. Um, let's see, number one, you say two animals at the entrance to Babylon. Yeah, again, I'm not sure how that becomes an icon. You need to sort of consolidate it somehow. Don't use a word mark. Um, and let's see, what's number 11? All right, so the Tower of Babel. Now, if you're going to do this, I would do it in some sort of dramatic perspective. So you're really like looking up at it. Consider how you would do that as the tower, because I'm really seeing like the tower, a bathtub. You need to think about other aspects of this brand. If the people are athletic and they're outgoing, all that, is there images like that that you can use? Um, yeah. So I think you need to dig a little deeper. I think the tower, that's one idea. I'm not sure how the animals work. Um, and I don't really see much else. So keep going, see what you come up with. All right, Alexis, you did saffron cookies. Saffron cookies are cookies with Himalayan saffron, I believe. So you want to look at that part of the world, South Asia, and see what kind of culture they have and what you could use from that. What I see here is a bunch of cookies with the word saffron written in the middle. So this is not a logo exploratory. You need to really think about what is the kind of image that you could use that represents this brand, represents the brand attributes. And definitely look at, I think it was Tibetan culture, and see what you can draw from that. If you were to do, like you wouldn't want to put the words across the middle of your icons anyway. So I'll show you this. So this is in the 5.0 assignment. This is how you think of your logo. There's your icon, which you're drawing today, and there's the type. So the type would have the name of your company and then the category, like cookies, chocolate, coffee, whatever it is. So that's the structure you're aiming for in the long run. All right, Mara, you did blood orange chocolate, an exotic chocolate. I believe it has sort of a Spanish influence, so you could draw on some Spanish culture things and see how that works out. This orange slice dipped in chocolate is an interesting idea, but you don't want to put your type wrapped into it. That makes it more difficult to work with. So like I just showed you, the structure should be icon, logo, type. This is interesting exploration of orange imagery, but I'm waiting, want to see something that makes yours sort of a unique icon. Like the chocolate on the orange is unique because it's part of your product. So there's one. And then, like I said, draw upon Spanish culture, see what else you can come up with to expand it more. Use more, I'm sorry. Uh, yeah. The interesting drawing of a twist. Is there something you can add to that to sort of make it more your product? Let's see, number 2, what is that? I like this. This number 2 here is kind of interesting. So perhaps this one as well. It's kind of similar to 6, but don't put the type on there. Put it underneath or to the side. And no word marks. All right. Next up, Jaquetta. You are doing mint soap as well. I'm not sure how that's possible that the two of you both signed up for the exact same brand. Perhaps it's listed twice, and I apologize if that's the case. But the parasol is a piece of Japanese culture. That's kind of interesting. I definitely like this as where a direction to go in. This flower is kind of interesting if you can give it some sort of twist to make it special to mint soap. These are mint leaves coming off there. Maybe that's the idea. So that's another possibility. The parasol in the bathtub is kind of fun. It needs a little finesse to sort of create an icon. I don't think you need the initial on there either. So those 3, 7, and 8 are kind of your best 3 ideas, I think, so far. Maybe the bamboo as well. This is a good exploration. Let's see, what else we got? Kim, you're doing cactus cookies. These are cookies with hot jelly, kind of a Southwestern culture thing. So you did some great explorations with cactus. Now I would say go beyond that. What do you have from sort of Native American culture, Southwestern culture that you could sort of add to this? The one that sort of jumps out at me is maybe this one, number 3, because of this unusual cactus shape. But I wouldn't put the words around it like that. I'd put them underneath somehow. This one looks a little more interesting, actually. Take that back. So number 2, maybe. But it's not just a matter of drawing a cactus. It's how do you make the cactus unique to your brand? So think about that. Let's see, what's number 9? Number 9, don't do a cactus in a pot. That doesn't seem to fit the brand. Yeah, like I said, look at, I think I said Hopi Indian culture, like more Native American Southwestern culture. There's like interesting things to draw upon for this. And that might give you some additional inspiration. Next up, Miles. Miles, you did Big Red Texas Chili. All right, so this is kind of a dried chili mix that you add to water to if you're out on the trail. You have some interesting drawings here. I would sort of avoid sort of integrating the type into the drawing. And I'm trying to see, okay, so you got a big chili, a map of Texas. This sort of on the campfire image is pretty much your brand. So maybe number 1 is one of your logos. This one looks like a can of chili. I don't think you want to go there. All right, I like this number 3, the chili pepper in the chili jacuzzi. Could be fun, but I would say make the chili into a cowboy. This is an out on the trail cowboy sitting in the chili hot tub. So number 1, number 3, you have some good drawings, good drawing skills. This one, I can't quite, let's see, what's going on there, 10. Yeah, you're going to develop sort of the composition of this better, but perhaps that's the one as well. I like introducing the cowboy, the figure in there as well. I'm not a big fan of maps. I don't think that is a great idea for a logo. But all right, so you got number 1, number 3, put a cowboy hat on them, and number 10 perhaps. I like this drawing a lot, but I don't know that this is an icon for a logo. All right, next up, Joshua. Osiris Coffee. These sketches are very, I think I did this yesterday. Yeah, I think I gave you a good critique yesterday. Hopefully you're following this, my direction, and coming up with some more stuff. So, all right, that's all I've got that's new today. I hope you're all having fun with this assignment. I think a lot of people are missing their work. So make sure you've got that turned in. It was due yesterday. Still turn it in, put it in the discussion if possible. If you need further critique or information, please contact your instructor as soon as possible.